Mia sat still, holding her paper, her eyes fixed on the big red letter at the top. C. A grade C. In her school, that meant average, not good, not excellent, just somewhere in the middle. But to Mia, it felt worse than that. It felt wrong. Her fingers tightened around the paper as she read it again, hoping she had made a mistake. But it was still there. See, the classroom was full of noise, chairs moving, students talking, bags closing. But for Mia, everything felt far away. It was like the sound had been turned down. All she could hear was her own thoughts. This did not make sense. She had worked too hard for this. Late nights, sitting at her small table in her home in Houston, Texas, reading, writing, correcting every line. She had gone over the project again and again until she was sure it was right. She had even stayed after class to ask Mrs. Carter for feedback. And Mrs. Carter had said something she could not forget. "Your work is strong. Keep it up." Mia had believed her. That was why this grade hurt so much. Mia slowly raised her hand. "Mrs. Carter, can I ask something?" The teacher was standing near her desk, arranging papers. She looked up, not smiling, not even curious. "What is it?" she asked. Mia lifted the paper slightly. "I got a C, a grade C. I just want to understand why, Mrs." Carter gave a small sigh, like the question was a bother. "Sometimes you do not get the grade you expect. You can try harder next time." Mia blinked. That answer did not help at all. "But I followed everything," she said. "I stayed after class, you checked my work before, and you said it was good." Mrs. Carter folded her arms. "I am not going to go over every small mistake right now, Mia." The words felt cold. A few students nearby slowed down, listening without looking. Mia could feel it. The attention, the quiet judgment, but she ignored it and stayed focused. "Can you at least show me what I did wrong?" she asked. Mrs. Carter looked away for a second, then back at her. "The grade is already given." That answer felt even worse, because it was not an answer. Mia stood there, holding the paper, feeling something shift inside her. This was not how things usually worked. In this class, students always got feedback. They were told where they lost marks and how to improve. But now, suddenly, it was different for her. Mia slowly looked to the side and noticed two students, Emily and Jake, whispering to each other. "She helped Emily with hers," Jake said quietly. "Yeah, for a long time," Emily replied. Mia heard every word. Her mind went back to that day. Emily had come to her desk, confused about the project. Mia had spent time explaining everything, step by step. She had shown her how to make the work better, how to fix mistakes, how to present it clearly. And now, Mia had a grade C, average. While something about this situation did not feel right at all, Mia looked back at Mrs. Carter. "Mrs. Carter," she said, keeping her voice calm, "why is mine different?" The teacher's face changed slightly. "What do you mean?" she asked. Mia said, "I worked very hard. You told me my work was strong before. I followed your advice. I even helped Emily understand the project, but I got a C." "I just want to understand what happened." Mrs. Carter's eyes became sharp. "You are starting to sound disrespectful." Mia froze. That was not what she was doing. She was only asking a question. "I am not being disrespectful," Mia said softly. "I just want to understand my grade." Mrs. Carter picked up a stack of papers and tapped them on the desk. "The class is over, Mia. That is enough." The conversation ended just like that. Mia stood there for a moment, then slowly walked back to her seat. The room felt heavy. Some students looked at her quickly, then looked away. Nobody spoke. But everyone had heard enough to know something was wrong. Mia sat down and placed the paper on her desk again. C, a grade that said average, but nothing about this felt average. When the bell rang, students rushed out, laughing and talking like it was just another normal day. But for Mia, nothing felt normal. She waited until most of the class had left, then walked back to the teacher's desk. "Mrs. Carter," she said quietly, "can I please see the marking sheet for my work?" The teacher looked up quickly. "No, not right now." "But we usually get to see it," Mia said. I said no. The answer came fast. Too fast. Mia looked at her closely. Mrs. Carter avoided her eyes and started moving papers around on the desk. One paper caught Mia's attention. It had Emily's name on it. Before Mia could look properly, Mrs. Carter quickly covered it. That small action said a lot. Mia felt it clearly now. This was not just a mistake. Something was being hidden. Mia stepped back slowly. "Okay," she said, even though nothing felt okay. She turned and walked out of the classroom, her mind full of questions. That evening, Mia sat at her table at home with her laptop open. The room was quiet. The only sound was the soft tapping of her fingers on the keyboard. She opened her project file, then the version she submitted, then the feedback Mrs. Carter had given her earlier. One line stood out clearly. "Excellent work. Keep this up." Mia stared at it. Then she looked at the grade again. C, a grade that meant average, but the feedback had said excellent. Those two things did not match. Not at all. Mia began to gather everything. Her drafts, her saved files, the time she worked on them, the messages from her teacher. She took screenshots and arranged them carefully. She did not rush. She wanted everything to be clear. Her thoughts kept repeating the same thing. This is not right. Why would a teacher praise her work, then give her a low grade without any clear reason? Why refuse to explain? Why hide the marking sheet? By the time she finished, it was already night. The room was dark, except for the light from her laptop. Mia opened a new email. She typed slowly. "Request for grade review." She explained everything, step by step. No anger, no shouting, just the truth. She attached her project, the feedback, the screenshots, and the dates. When she was done, she stopped and looked at the screen. This was not just about a grade C anymore. This was about fairness. This was about being treated the right way. Mia took a deep breath, moved her hand to the mouse, and clicked send. Then she sat back quietly. Tomorrow, things would change. The next morning, Mia walked into class like every other day, calm on the outside, but inside, her mind was alert. She had already done what she needed to do. Now, she was waiting. The classroom looked normal. Students were talking, some laughing, some tired, some rushing to finish small work before the lesson started. Nothing seemed different. Mrs. Carter walked in a few minutes later, holding her books like always. Her face looked the same, calm, controlled, like nothing had happened. She placed her books on the table and started the lesson. Mia watched quietly. For a moment, she almost wondered if anything would come from the email she sent. Maybe it would be ignored. Maybe nothing would change. But deep down, she knew she had done the right thing. About 10 minutes into the lesson, there was a knock on the door. Everyone turned. A staff member stood there. "Mrs. Carter," he said, "the principal needs to see you right now." The room went silent. Mrs. Carter looked confused. "Right now?" she asked. "Yes, right now." There was a short pause. Then she nodded slowly and walked out of the classroom. As soon as the door closed, the room filled with quiet whispers. Why did they call her? Did something happen? Is it about yesterday? Some students turned to look at Mia, but she kept her face calm and looked straight ahead. Minutes passed. Long minutes. The kind that made everyone feel uneasy. Then the door opened again, but it was not Mrs. Carter who walked in first. It was Mr. Brooks, the principal, and behind him, Mrs. Carter followed slowly. Something was different, very different. Her face looked pale. Her eyes were not as steady as before. The confidence she always carried was gone. The classroom became completely silent. "Mr. Brooks stepped forward. "We will take a few minutes of your time," he said calmly. No one spoke. Everyone was watching. Mr. Brooks looked around the room, then continued. "After reviewing a report that was sent to us," he said, "we checked the grading for one of your classmates." A few students shifted in their seats. Mia sat still. The work, the feedback, and the grading records were all examined carefully, he continued. Then he paused. The room felt tight, and we found clear evidence that the grading was not fair. Soft gasps spread across the divide. "Class." Students turned toward Mia, their eyes wide with surprise. Mr. Brooks did not stop. "The project that received a grade C," he said, "was not average work. He looked directly at Mia. It was one of the highest in the class. Mia blinked slowly. Her heart moved, but she did not smile. She just listened, because this moment was not about feeling proud, it was about truth. Mr. Brooks then turned to Mrs. Carter. However, he said firmly, "This is not just about one grade." The room grew quiet again. Fairness is very important in this school. Every student must be treated equally. "What happened here shows a serious problem," Mrs. Carter tried to speak. "I did not mean to. It was just a mistake. Mr. Brooks raised his hand slightly. "It is not about what you meant," he said. "It is about what was done." Silence filled the room. "Because of this," he continued, "you are suspended from teaching while we complete a full investigation." No one moved. No one spoke. The shock was clear on every face. Mrs. Carter stood there, frozen, her eyes low. For the first time, she had nothing to say. The same teacher who refused to explain, who shut down questions, who acted like nothing was wrong, was now the one being questioned. And there was no way to avoid it. Mr. Brooks then turned back to Mia. "Your grade will be corrected," he said. Mia nodded slowly. "Thank you," she said softly. Her voice was calm, because she knew something important, real. Justice does not always come with noise. Sometimes it comes quietly, but it is strong. Mr. Brooks gave a small nod, then left the room. Mrs. Carter followed behind him, slowly. Without a word, the door closed, and the classroom stayed silent for a few seconds. Then the whispers began. "I can't believe it. She was right. That was so unfair." Some students looked at Mia with respect. Others looked surprised. A few looked like they did not know what to say. Mia simply sat there. She did not feel the need to talk, because everything that needed to be said had already been proven. Later that day, as she walked home, the sun was setting over the streets of Houston, Texas. The sky was calm, and the air felt different. Mia thought about everything that had happened. The moment she saw the grade C, the confusion, the silence, the way she was treated when she asked simple questions, and then the choice she made. She could have stayed quiet. She could have accepted it and moved on, but she did not. She chose to stand up, not with anger, not with shouting, but with proof. And that made all the difference. Because in life, there will be times when things are not fair. Times when people may overlook you, doubt you, or treat you differently. But what matters is what you do in that moment. Do you stay silent, or do you stand for what is right? Mia smiled slightly as she reached her door. She knew her answer. And maybe someone listening to this story needs to hear it too. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, remember your voice matters. Your effort matters, and the truth always finds a way to come out. If this story meant something to you, if you believe in standing up for what is right, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the power of truth and courage.